My beloved child, listen closely, because what you are about to understand is something your heart has sensed for a long time but never fully accepted. There was someone who was meant to walk beside you into your future, someone whose presence once felt aligned with your dreams, your plans, your quiet prayers in the dark. You imagined them standing next to you during your victories, holding your hand through your rebuilding, sharing the version of life you were slowly creating. And for a moment, it truly seemed destined. But something shifted. Something you did not see coming. Something that changed the direction of your path without you realizing it. There was a turning point you almost ignored. A subtle moment. A quiet decision. An action that did not look dramatic on the surface, yet it carried enormous weight. They did something that fractured the trust you were building. Not loudly. Not publicly. But deeply. And that single choice revealed a truth about their character that your heart tried to excuse. You wanted to believe it was a mistake. You wanted to believe love would correct it. But what happened was not just an accident, it was a reflection. Pause here for a second. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you in this realization. What they did was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to redirect you. You see, some people are assigned to your journey for a season, not for your destiny. They can look like your future. They can sound like your forever. They can promise alignment. But destiny does not only depend on emotion, it depends on integrity. And when they made that terrible choice, whether it was dishonesty, betrayal of confidence, or choosing ego over loyalty, they unknowingly removed themselves from the future you are stepping into. And here is the surprising revelation. You were protected. It may not have felt like protection. It felt like heartbreak. It felt like confusion. It felt like the ground shifting beneath your feet. You questioned yourself. You replayed conversations. You wondered if you were overthinking. Don't skip this part, because this is where clarity begins. The pain you felt was not punishment. It was preparation. Their action exposed a weakness that would have become a permanent wound if it had followed you into your next chapter. Imagine building your greatest achievement with someone who secretly doubts you. Imagine celebrating success beside someone who once chose convenience over commitment. Imagine trusting your future to someone who already showed you they could compromise your peace. That is what was quietly avoided. You thought they were meant to be there. And perhaps, at one point, they were meant to teach you something. Not to stay, but to reveal. They revealed your capacity to love deeply. They revealed your willingness to forgive. They revealed how strong you are when your expectations collapse. But most importantly, they revealed what you will never accept again. This is not about bitterness. This is about awakening. Because here is what you did not see, while you were grieving the version of the future you imagined with them, a new version was being prepared, one that does not require you to shrink, to compromise your values, or to question your worth. Something extraordinary is aligning beyond this disappointment. Stay till the end, because the most powerful part is still unfolding. When they did what they did, you felt as if something precious was stolen from you. Time. Trust. emotional investment. But look deeper. Nothing was stolen. What was removed was illusion. And illusion can never build a stable future. The terrible thing they did was the final confirmation that they were not ready to stand beside the person you are becoming. You are evolving. Quietly. Powerfully. Your standards are rising. Your awareness is sharpening. And not everyone who meets you at one level is qualified to accompany you to the next. That is not cruelty. That is alignment. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime truth: sometimes the person who was supposed to be in your future is only there to show you what your future cannot contain. Let that sink in. Their action forced a separation before a greater collapse could occur. It saved you from years of subtle dissatisfaction. It saved you from building dreams on unstable ground. It saved you from convincing yourself that almost right was good enough. You deserve fully aligned, fully honest, fully supportive, fully present. What they did may have felt terrible, but it clarified something sacred. You will no longer negotiate with red flags disguised as potential. You will no longer confuse chemistry with compatibility. You will no longer ignore your intuition when it whispers. And intuition did whisper, didn't it? There were small signs. Small hesitations. Small inconsistencies. You brushed them aside because you wanted the story to work. But now, looking back, you see the pattern. And that awareness is power. Don't skip this moment. Something huge is waiting for you in this understanding. Because the real twist is this: the future you are moving toward requires someone stronger, wiser, more grounded than the person who walked away through their own actions. Your path is expanding. Your opportunities are shifting. Your growth is accelerating. And the space that feels empty right now is actually reserved. Reserved for someone who does not need to be convinced to choose you. Reserved for someone whose integrity matches their words. Reserved for someone who sees your future and feels honored, not threatened. To stand inside it. The person who was supposed to be there removed themselves when they chose against your peace. And peace is non-negotiable in the life you are building. You are not behind. You are not rejected. You are not abandoned. You were redirected. And this redirection is not random. It is precise. In the coming days, you will notice subtle shifts. Clarity replacing confusion. Confidence replacing doubt. Energy returning where heaviness once lived. That is because your spirit recognizes that something misaligned has exited. What feels like loss now will soon feel like relief. Stay with me, because in the next part, you will understand exactly why their action had to happen when it did, and how it unlocked a door you didn't even know existed. Something extraordinary is closer than you think, and this story is far from over. Don't skip what comes next. The moment you thought everything was falling apart was actually the moment everything began to realign, and you did not even realize it. There was a night, maybe quiet, maybe restless, when you replayed what they did over and over in your mind. You searched for logic. You searched for a softer explanation. You tried to reconstruct the version of them you believed in. But truth has a way of standing still while excuses run in circles. And slowly, without noise, clarity began to rise inside you. Stay till the end, because what you are about to understand will change how you see this entire story. What they did was not random. It was revealing. When someone shows you a fracture in their character, it is not meant to humiliate you. It is meant to protect your timeline. You were building something bigger than what they were prepared to carry. Your dreams were stretching beyond comfort. Your standards were elevating beyond convenience. And the terrible choice they made exposed a gap between who they were and who you are becoming. At first, you tried to close that gap yourself. You tried to be more patient, more understanding, more forgiving. You adjusted your expectations to make the connection survive. But destiny does not bend itself to accommodate someone who is not ready. Don't skip this part, because this is where power returns to you. You believed they were meant for your future because you saw potential. You saw glimpses of who they could become. But potential is not commitment. Potential is not maturity. Potential is not alignment. And while you were loving the possibility, reality was quietly speaking through their actions. And here is the shocking truth: their decision created a doorway you would never have opened on your own. If they had stayed just good enough, you would have remained just patient enough. If they had not crossed that invisible line, you would have kept investing in something that was slowly draining your expansion. Sometimes it takes a clear, undeniable action to break the illusion. Something huge is waiting for you in this realization. Because the separation did not just remove a person. It removed a limitation. Think about who you were when you were trying to make it work. Were you fully expressing yourself? Were you completely honest about your needs? Or were you subtly shrinking to maintain harmony? You may not have noticed it at the time, but part of your energy was spent managing the instability they brought into your space. Now that space is open. Open for confidence. Open for creativity. Open for a future that does not require constant negotiation of your worth. There is another layer you must see. When they did what they did, you felt rejected. But what truly happened was selection. Your life selected out what could not sustain the next chapter. It filtered what was not strong enough to endure the growth that is coming. And growth is coming faster than you think. In the next phase of your journey, you will step into opportunities that require emotional steadiness. You will encounter environments that demand clarity. You will meet people who recognize your value instantly, without hesitation. And had that person remained beside you, their unresolved patterns would have complicated everything. Stay with this thought. Do not rush past it. Imagine receiving a breakthrough while still doubting the person standing next to you. Imagine achieving progress while questioning loyalty in the background. That tension would have slowed your momentum. It would have divided your focus. Instead, what happened cut the cord early. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it shocked you. Yes, it left you with unanswered questions. But it also left you free. Free from guessing. Free from overanalyzing. Free from hoping someone would eventually choose the level of maturity you already operate from. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation: the future you are stepping into requires emotional clarity more than emotional intensity. Intensity feels exciting. It feels powerful. It feels magnetic. But clarity feels peaceful. It feels steady. It feels secure. And the life you are building is rooted in security, not chaos disguised as passion. Don't skip this moment, because this is where your perspective shifts permanently. You were not meant to build your empire, emotional, personal, or professional, with someone who still battles their own integrity. You were not meant to constantly reassure someone who should have been reassuring you. You were not meant to teach someone how to value what they should have recognized naturally. The terrible thing they did revealed the ceiling of their growth. And you are not living a small life anymore. You are expanding beyond ceilings. There is something else you must understand. Their action did not define your worth. It revealed their readiness. There is a difference. When someone acts against trust, it speaks about their internal alignment, not your external value. You were steady. You were sincere. You were genuine. Their inability to match that is not a reflection of your insufficiency. It is a reflection of their limitation. And limitations cannot travel into limitless spaces. Stay till the end, because this next truth is critical. In the weeks ahead, you will feel something unexpected: relief. Not loud relief. Not celebratory relief. But subtle lightness. You will wake up one day and realize you are no longer carrying the mental weight of trying to figure it out. You will notice your energy returning. You will notice your focus sharpening. You will notice your confidence stabilizing. That is alignment restoring itself. And while you are healing, something extraordinary is being positioned in the background. New conversations. New connections. New opportunities. The removal of one person did not shrink your future, it expanded it. Because now, you will not settle for almost. You will not justify inconsistency. You will not ignore intuition. You will not silence your inner voice to preserve someone else's comfort. You have evolved through this experience. And evolution changes standards. The person who was supposed to be in your future was there to test your awareness. When they chose poorly, they unknowingly activated your upgrade. They forced you to confront what you deserve at the highest level. And you chose growth. That choice, to accept the truth instead of clinging to illusion, is what separates your old chapter from your new one. Something huge is waiting for you on the other side of this acceptance. The next person who enters your life will not require you to decode their loyalty. They will not make you question your value. They will not leave you wondering where you stand. You will feel steadiness. You will feel calm certainty. You will feel partnership, not performance. But before that alignment arrives, you had to experience contrast. Contrast clarifies desire. Now you know exactly what integrity looks like, and what it does not. Now you know exactly what consistency feels like. And when it is missing. Now you know the difference between words and actions. And that knowledge is priceless. Don't skip what comes next, because the story is still unfolding. There is a hidden blessing in timing. Notice how their action occurred right before you were about to make a deeper commitment. Right before you were about to invest more. Right before you were about to anchor your plans around them. That timing was not accidental. It prevented a deeper entanglement. It saved you from a more complicated separation later. It spared you from building something that would have required demolition. And demolition is always harder than redirection. So yes, it felt terrible. Yes, it felt unfair. But it was efficient. Efficient in protecting your future. Efficient in exposing truth quickly. Efficient in freeing you for what is next. As you continue forward, you will begin to see signs that confirm this shift. Unexpected opportunities. New invitations. Fresh perspectives. Moments where you realize you are stronger than you thought. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. You are not walking away from destiny. You are walking toward a higher version of it. And in the next part, you will understand something even deeper, why the connection felt so powerful in the first place, and why its ending had to feel intense in order to fully transform you. Stay with this journey. Do not look back with regret. Look back with wisdom. Because what felt like something terrible was actually the doorway to something extraordinary. And you are only beginning to see how far this redirection will take you. There is a reason the connection felt so powerful from the very beginning, and until you understand that reason, a part of you will keep wondering what it all meant. What you felt was not imaginary. It was not foolish. It was not naive. It was real. The intensity, the familiarity, the way conversations flowed as if you had known each other in another lifetime of experiences, all of that had purpose. But purpose does not always mean permanence. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you inside this truth. Some connections enter your life not to stay forever, but to activate something dormant within you. When you met them, a certain part of you woke up. You became more expressive, more hopeful, more emotionally open. You began imagining possibilities you had once buried. They did not create your light, they revealed it. And that revelation was necessary. The strength of the bond was not proof they were meant to remain. It was proof that you were ready to feel deeply again. You were ready to trust. Ready to believe in shared futures. Ready to open doors inside your heart that had been closed. But here is the deeper layer: intensity can accelerate growth. When something feels ordinary, it teaches you slowly. When something feels extraordinary, it transforms you quickly. This connection was a catalyst. It pushed you to confront your fears of abandonment. It pushed you to examine your boundaries. It pushed you to see how much you were willing to compromise for love. Don't skip this moment, because clarity is about to sharpen. If the ending had been mild, you might have carried false hope for years. If their actions had been subtle, you might have continued rationalizing. But the choice they made was unmistakable. It closed the door with certainty. And certainty, even when painful, is a gift. Certainty frees your energy. When ambiguity lingers, it drains you. It keeps you replaying possibilities. It keeps you suspended between what was and what could be. But their decision eliminated the gray area. It forced a clean break in the narrative. And clean breaks create clean beginnings. There is something else you must see. The reason it felt like they were supposed to be in your future is because they mirrored parts of your vision. They reflected your ambition, your dreams, your emotional depth. But mirroring is not matching. Reflection is not foundation. You were seeing your own potential through them. That is why it felt magical. But when the terrible action occurred, the mirror cracked. And suddenly you were faced not with the reflection of your dreams, but with the reality of their character. That contrast hurt. It felt like the person you believed in vanished overnight. In truth, the illusion vanished, and reality remained. Stay a little longer with this realization. You are not mourning just a person. You are mourning a projected future. The version of life you imagined. The shared milestones you mentally rehearsed. The conversations you believed would continue for years. When that vision collapsed, it felt like losing something tangible. But here is the surprising revelation. Your future was never dependent on one individual. Your future is built on your values, your growth, your integrity, your discipline, your vision. No single person can carry that entire blueprint. They can contribute to it, but they cannot define it. Something huge is waiting for you on the other side of this understanding. Because once you detach your destiny from a specific face, you reclaim unlimited possibility. You stop saying, "It was supposed to be them." And you start saying, "It will be someone aligned with where I am going." Alignment is the key word here. Alignment is not about chemistry alone. It is about consistency between words and actions. It is about shared direction. It is about mutual respect when no one is watching. And when they chose to act in a way that compromised trust, they stepped out of alignment. You did not lose your future. You lost misalignment. And that distinction changes everything. Don't skip this next truth. You are also being tested. Not tested in a way that punishes you. Tested in a way that measures your willingness to choose self-respect over attachment. When the truth surfaced, you had two options: ignore it and cling to comfort, or accept it and choose growth. You chose growth. That decision might not have felt powerful in the moment. It felt painful. But every time you resisted the urge to chase, to beg for explanations, to diminish your standards just to keep them close, you strengthened your identity. You proved to yourself that you can survive disappointment without abandoning yourself. And that strength is magnetic. In the coming chapter of your life, you will notice something remarkable. You will attract people who operate from a higher level of emotional intelligence. Conversations will feel clearer. Intentions will feel transparent. You will not need to decode signals or analyze inconsistencies. That shift is not coincidence. It is consequence. When you raise your internal standards, your external experiences adjust accordingly. But before that adjustment becomes visible, you must fully release the old narrative. Not with resentment. Not with bitterness. But with gratitude for the lesson. Gratitude does not mean approval of what they did. It means recognition that their action accelerated your awakening. Stay till the end, because this is where transformation completes its cycle. Think about who you were before this connection. Perhaps guarded. Perhaps cautious. Perhaps hesitant to believe again. Then they entered and ignited hope. You expanded. You softened. You allowed yourself to envision more. Even though it ended, that expansion remains. You are now emotionally braver than before. You understand your needs more clearly. You recognize red flags earlier. You trust your intuition more deeply. That is evolution. And evolution always costs something. It costs illusions. It costs outdated beliefs. It costs attachments that cannot sustain growth. But what it gives you is far greater. It gives you discernment. It gives you stability. It gives you the ability to recognize true partnership when it appears. Something extraordinary is approaching, and you are being prepared for it right now. Because the next connection will not arrive as a dramatic whirlwind. It will arrive as a steady presence. It will feel calm, not chaotic. It will feel secure, not suspenseful. And you will recognize it because you now know the difference. The terrible thing they did sharpened your perception. It cleared your vision. It recalibrated your standards. And perhaps most importantly, it taught you that love without integrity is not sustainable. Do not rush to fill the space they left. Allow the silence to strengthen you. Allow the clarity to settle. Allow the lesson to integrate fully into your identity. You are not behind in life. You are not missing out. You are not abandoned by destiny. You are being refined. And refinement is preparation for something rare. Stay with this journey, because in the next part, you will see how this experience is already reshaping your path in ways you cannot yet measure, opportunities forming quietly, encounters aligning subtly, doors unlocking without struggle. The person who was supposed to be in your future did something terrible, yes. But what followed is far more powerful. You stepped into a version of yourself that no longer accepts less than alignment. And that version of you is about to meet a future that matches it perfectly. Don't skip what comes next. Something huge is waiting just beyond this chapter.